Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on the Infinite Baffled channel. My name is Niall and today is a very exciting day because whenever KEF bring a new speaker to market, the hype, the anticipation, it is palpable, and the Coda W actives next to me here are no exception at all. I mean, you cannot deny when you look at the hi-fi landscape over the last few years when it comes to speakers, KEF are a brand that have been right up there. They've shaped the market as we see it today, whether it's been through the LS range, which has been hugely successful, or the Meta technology that they helped pioneer as well. They have been elevating and leading the speaker market for the last few years, if you ask me, unquestionably. So a lot of anticipation, no pressure here at all on the Coda W actives. But if you do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up on it. Whenever we do any KEF video, it always seems to do really well. So if you do enjoy it, make sure to leave the thumbs up. Let us know your feedback and thoughts in the comment section down below. But over there, any further ado, the Coda Ws, let's get into it. Now, as we kind of just touched upon there, KEF are no strangers when it comes to the active speaker market. The LS50 wireless being an incredibly popular model, and of course, the more recently released LT models as well. They have got some great options. So the fact that they've kind of rejigged that range a little bit to make room for what is effectively, in fact, what is their new entry-level active speaker, the Coda Ws here, I think is very, very interesting. I also think it's very interesting how deliberately they've designed these to look nothing like that LS range. I think when you think of an LS speaker, whether it's the LS 60s, 50s, whatever it might be, that whole range is very curved. There's no real straight edges in the design, and these couldn't be further from that. They're very much a box style speaker, the Coda Ws, but that's not a bad thing. I think they look really, really good. And whatever this kind of textured design is on the front, I think slatted is the word that I've landed on to describe it. I'm a big fan of it. I think they look really, really tidy. I did hear somebody say when describing the design of these speakers that they look a lot more like a lifestyle speaker, and I can't really escape that. I do think they look like the kind of speaker that you could inevitably put, whether it's, you know, the living room, the kitchen, whatever it might be, they're gonna really fit in anywhere. And a lifestyle speaker is a term that we're going to be battling with a little bit in this video because the way they're designed when it comes to their functionality as well as their aesthetics, some people might say, you know, is this more of a lifestyle speaker as opposed to reaching for the best possible sound kind of speaker? So we're going to be kind of arguing back and forth on that throughout this video, but aesthetically, you know, really, really great slatted front cover here. Lovely Unico driver as always. I think they're a great, great looking speaker. One more thing that's worth mentioning actually, I think when it comes to the design is that I do think they give me very strong Q series vibes. If you guys have ever seen the KEF Q150s, very, very similar looking speaker. And when you think about that logically, the Q series was for a long time and still is actually their entry level range. So again, I think all this is very, very deliberate. The entry-level active speaker looking like what is the entry-level passive speaker range, it all kind of makes sense. One thing that has come across from the LS range to the Coda Ws here is the touch buttons, the touch sensitive buttons that are on the top of the powered speaker that you can use for turning them off and on, of course, the changing the input and changing the volume, all of that kind of stuff. And I must say, they're actually impressively responsive to use. And there are a couple of other ways you can use these speakers in terms of controlling them. You can use the remote control that does come included with the speakers, but also if you wanted to take advantage of the KEF Connect app, you can do that with your mobile device as well to control the speakers that way. But yeah, the touch buttons on the top here, I think A, they look great when they're lit up, B, surprisingly responsive in my opinion. I'll put some footage on screen for you guys to see now, me unboxing these for the very first time. I did release that as a short, a little bit of a teaser for you guys a few days ago, so you might have already seen it, but they actually came in a very unique style within the box where kind of each speaker was within a kind of protective box, but not really a box within the box. That's a lot of box, but I'm sure you guys know what I mean when you'll see the footage in the background. Included with the speakers, you of course get the remote control, which I've just touched upon, the power cable, of course, also the USB cable that goes between the two, so when you listen to them both, they play together, again, of course, as well as the standard KEF paperwork. But yeah, the way they were boxed was very unique, I thought, not something that I've come across before, I have to say. I think one of the reasons that the word lifestyle has been thrown around so much when it comes to the Coda Ws here is just the immense amount of connectivity and functionality that they give you. It's something where you kind of think, well, if they're putting that much into the connectivity, is there then room within the budget to also give performance? But let's focus in on that connectivity, because obviously we have the wireless connectivity that we've just talked about. It's Bluetooth 5.4, and it also comes with aptX lossless support, which is absolutely brilliant. On top of that, physical connection wise, we've got the likes of the HDMI ARC, which is always a big positive. So if you wanted to, you could connect these to your television. There is the ability to connect a subwoofer to them as well, so should you choose to do so. And you also have some RCAs on there, as well as a built-in phono input. So if you wanted to connect this to a turntable, which is I think a big area that KEF had in mind when it came to the Coda Ws, you can do so. But also if you wanted to add something like a streamer, a CD player, you've got an optical on there as well, you can of course do that. So a lot of potential here with the Codas, I think. Focusing in a bit more on the numbers side of things, we will of course put a link to the speakers in the description down below, where the audio affair link, where we're listening to them today, will show you all of the technical specifications. But they're 285 millimeters tall, I think. Let me just double check that. Yes, 285 millimeters tall and 168 millimeters wide. I shouldn't have doubted myself. And they also come in at a combined weight of 11.3 kg. Most of that weight, of course, coming in the powered speaker. As I did briefly mention earlier, of course, they do also have KEF's patented UniQ driver design, the 12th generation UniQ driver design, in fact, and they have this 5¼ inch driver on the front as well. The tweeter is a 25mm aluminium design. All of this, again, is very typical of the kind of KEF LSQ series kind of range. All of this stuff tends to remain pretty consistent a lot of the times when it comes to KEF. The power behind the Coda Ws comes in the form of Class D amplification. You have 70 watts of power that's dedicated to going into the low and mid-range, and another 30 that goes into the highs. Again, all of the specifications in all of their glory will be found in the description down below, so you can peruse those at your leisure. So the big thing, as always, the sound and the performance. How did we find the Coda Ws? Are they a speaker of convenience, or are they a speaker of really high sound quality? And what I say to that is, can they not be both? Because, I mean, convenience, let's talk about that first. I mean, the very first time we powered these on, I can't think of an easier speaker that I've ever set up with the whole time doing this channel, to be honest with you. I think genuinely, from taking them out of the box, plugging them in, connecting them together, it was probably around 2 minutes between us getting them out of the box and actually having music playing. And let me tell you, when it comes to Bluetooth, that isn't always the case. Sometimes these things can be a little bit finicky. Not the case at all here. And then obviously, once you set them up for the first time, it's then seamless connecting to them again and again and again. So convenience, ease of use, top marks. And again, we spoke about it earlier, the amount of input options here. There are so many use cases for a speaker like this, whether you're using them with a television, whether you just want a really clean, tidy turntable setup where you just have turntable, 2 speakers, nothing else, keeping it clean. It will work like a charm. Again, if you wanted to add a streamer in, a CD player, you could put these in a kitchen, a living space, an office. There are so many use cases for them, and I've just got to reiterate again, in terms of convenience and ease of use, top marks to KEF here. But the sound, how do they sound, Niall? Now, I think a lot of people are going to want to know, these are coming in at $799. Is there a big difference between these and the LS50 models, the wireless models? And I'm going to reference that a little bit as we talk about the sound, because I think it's very easy to grasp, because I think so many people will be very familiar with that LS50 sound. And straight off the bat, they have got a lot of that KEF sound in common with the higher up models. Now, you get kind of trickle down technology when it comes to these entry level models now, so there's obviously going to be some similar characteristics. I mean, the first thing that I noticed was the low end, super punchy, very much a KEF kind of thing, really impressive, to the point of which, unless you're using them with a TV and you're going to be watching films and stuff like that, I don't really think you need a subwoofer, to be completely honest with you. The control on them is also very good. The distortion levels are strong. So what I mean by that is you can play these at a good volume and you're not really losing a lot. However, compared to the LS50, you can't drive them quite to that same level. When it gets to the real high highs, they can struggle a little bit when you're talking like big high volumes here I'm on about. So comparing that to the LS50 where the control is absolutely incredible, no, they're not quite on the same level. They're still great, but not quite on the same level. And that's somewhat going to be the theme here, really, to be completely transparent with you, because, for example, one of its greatest strengths, in my opinion, aside from the low end being better than I expected, is the detailing and the projection that you get from these speakers. They actually, for the size of them, I think could fill a small size room comfortably. So if you like an office space, a kitchen maybe, not a problem whatsoever. But even in a big, decent sized room like we're in here, I think, yes, it's not ideal, but they still sounded better than I thought they would, to be completely honest with you. But as good as that is it as good as the LS50? Not quite, no. When it comes to the detailing on them, the KEF detail that they're able to achieve with this design of speaker, with this kind of UniQ layout that they have, is absolutely phenomenal. And I think there's one thing that you see in multiple reviews when it comes to the LS range and even the Q series range to a certain extent, is just the amount of detail versus how easy they are to listen to. That ratio is really, really strong. And again, I think the Coda Ws are great for that. Are they as good as the LS50s? Guess what? No, they're not, but they're still pretty damn good. One thing that was very, very different, I thought, comparing these to the LS speakers directly, is that the soundstage and the staging in general felt a lot tighter. And I think if you're in a smaller room, that could be a really good thing, but it does mean that the stage just isn't quite as big as those LS range speakers. And I think that's where, you know, I mean, let's be real here, you're never going to be feeling like a concert hall with something like these, but that is where in your bigger spaces you do lose a little bit of that finesse, a little bit of that niche special KEF touch, in my opinion. So in a smaller space, that really tight soundstage is fantastic, but obviously again, in bigger spaces, a bit of a detriment. The vocals were also really clear, really crisp, really natural, which is always a thing I look out for. And the overall presentation, although it is that tighter kind of soundstage, is really well balanced. And they are a really great sounding speaker, I've got to say again. I mean, don't let me put you off by saying, you know, these aren't as good as the LS50. They are still a cracking little speaker. I think the best thing I can say about these Coda Ws here is that KEF have done a great job of balancing those two things we mentioned earlier. Are these an all-out audiophile speaker? No. Are they an all-out lifestyle speaker? They're not that either. They kind of thread the needle between the two really, really well. I mean, again, if you're someone out there and you're looking for a speaker with great options on them, great connectivity, great accessibility in terms of use cases, and just ease of use again, they're absolutely spot on. But if you're someone that's after really high-end audio, I don't think you'd be overly disappointed either. I think they balance the things out really, really well. And if you are someone that's really looking for the ultimate in audio quality, save a little bit more. Go for the LS range. You will reap the benefits there when it comes to pure audio. But if you want to sacrifice that for a bit of that connectivity, a bit of that extra ease of use that I've just mentioned, these are a great, great choice. And again, there's just so many use cases for them. I think KEF have done a marvelous, marvelous job here, because again, whenever they release something new, there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of excitement, people are always going to be intrigued. And with the Coda Ws here, I think there is good reason for that excitement. But that is going to wrap up this video, guys. I'd love to hear, as always, your thoughts in the comment section down below. Have you heard the Coda Ws? If so, let me know your thoughts. What do you think of the fact they've kind of reworked the active speaker range now, this being the new entry-level model? Let me know about all that in the comment section down below. Leave a thumbs up again if you did enjoy, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. We'll catch you all in the next video.